Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is not going to be a book related video, as you can see by the title, but basically this year I want to do a low spend by year. And what I mean by that is I kind of want to be more mindful of all the purchases I make, both clothes, books, gaming, all of that good stuff. Now there are certain expenses where I have to make them. So that's petrol, rent, obviously my car insurance, parking at work, food. Although I am kind of wanting to now be more mindful of making food at home, even though I am traveling so far. I still want to try and make food at home, but I don't like sandwiches. So I've made some good progress with that tonight. Because it's currently 5:30 in the morning, but like I'm doing night shifts, so it's like the equivalent of like 5:30 p.m. if I was awake during the day. I haven't looked at my spending of like books and everything, but basically in my third year of university, so from September 2023 to August 2024, that was the year that I majorly increased the amount of books that I owned. I moved into third year with the number of books that I brought with me only filling the cart, like my book cart, and having space. I've astronomically grew that. Now I did sort of struggle, so not fully struggle, but like I did have to have moments during my third year where I was more mindful. But I did purchase way too many books. So in terms of books, obviously this is mainly a book channel. So in terms of books, I'm kind of on like a more mindful spending. I'm not on a book buying ban. I've kind of put it down to if it's an anticipated release, like it's a really anticipated release. Like I know it won't be my previous video, but what is currently my most recent video is my new releases, and I mentioned 48. Now I did get some of those off of like just Waterstones where they sounded interesting, where I think people will enjoy them, where I wanted to highlight some books that aren't talked about, because the main kind of videos that I've seen from other people mainly include the kind of the next in series or the most newest release from like popular authors already, and I kind of wanted to highlight some kind of books from newer people, but I'm not going to buy all of those books. There were definitely a few where I want to kind of purchase them around release dates. So we've got Fearless, which comes out in April. I definitely want to get Funny Story by Emily Henry, which comes out in February. I want to get Murtagh by Christopher Paolini, which comes out potentially more like April. I think it's going to end up being April. And that's three that I know off the top of my head. Also in March, there's the Elsie Silver book, the Wild, I can't remember, but that comes out the 4th of March. So there are books where I want to buy them. I now have got a new book that I want to purchase, and it is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, but it's the Works Stenciled Edge edition. Now I do own Powerless without the stenciled edges, but I own the Powerful, the novella, and Reckless with the stenciled edges, so I do want to purchase that so that it does match, and also because then Fearless will match as well, and that comes out on the 14th of January. So that is currently my first planned book purchase. I'm wanting to read more of my books. I'm like that I already own or utilize Kindle for any books, because there's a lot of books that I don't own them physically, but I have bought like the like 99p Kindle version, so I kind of want to utilize that, because there's still going to be a lot of books that I can read for like content, for like different challenges, like and different like themes. So like book themes, so like if I wanted to do like reading thrillers for a week, reading romance for a week, fantasy, all of that, even literary fiction, classics. I can even do memoirs. I think I have one memoir, but I'm sure I can find others. Like I have plenty of video options that I can do with the books that I already own. So I'm kind of only allowing myself to buy like the next in the series or like the Emily Henry one where it's an anticipated release. And especially because I did accidentally recently purchase a book in paperback, and then I went home and realised that actually I owned the hardback. And that was for an author where I'd never purchased any of her other books. So I mostly tried to keep the same author in the same book format, whether that be hardback, paperback, trade paperback. Then in terms of gaming, I did kind of redeem, like in terms of the low buy, I have technically bought more already in this first week, in the first 6 days of January, than what some people would buy in like the month. So I did buy some Sims 4 stuff. So I want to spend more on technically experiences / I just want to save. And in some ways my gaming is sort of an experience because I am such a homebody. I do buy them on sale. So when I bought some Sims content, it was the 2nd of January and it was on sale. I haven't yet got around to playing that content just because I want to play like a different storyline first. But it does now mean that I own the Tartosa world. So I am excited about that. Because that's the thing, I kind of in my head and like in my game prioritize buying the worlds because that kind of feels like I'm adding more value. So in terms of the residential worlds, I do own, I think, all of them. Obviously new releases like pending. So, and also I did buy that, it might have been the end of December actually though. Yeah, I think it was December, but in December I did buy the Hogwarts Legacy game because I managed to get it for £15. I think because it was like the game of the day, even though I wouldn't have purchased it full price at the time because it was on sale. It kind of felt reasonable to do. Now, in saying that, I'm not going to go overboard with it. Like, I did spend, I think it was like £25 when I did purchase those 2 packs. Because I purchased Dine Out as well. I know that there's bugs with it. I'm very much aware. So, and I think with Sims, I am quite mindful of purchases. And so when I do purchase stuff on Sims, typically I do spend more in one go. Occasionally I'll just do like buying like a kit, but I mainly do like the bigger purchases. Then going into clothes, I did sort of purchase more clothes last year because, so previous years I used to get most of my clothes just technically at Christmas, where I'd go shopping, I'd pick out my clothes, they'd then get wrapped up and all of that. I then kind of more so in the past year and a half, have been buying more of my clothes where I'll see them in like Asda, like it might have been like in like September or like April or whatever, where it's nowhere near anything like big, and I'll purchase it. Like I bought my cardigans, I bought a coat last January, which felt like a good purchase because I didn't have a coat like that with like a hood where it was long, all of that. So that was a good purchase. But I definitely want to, like, there are certain types of clothes that I want to wear. So like I'm very much aware, like in my videos I wear the same kind of tops, which typically I do in my everyday life anyway. So I've got a crop top on at the moment. I kind of want to get more sort of slightly nicer tops for when I film sit down videos. Vlogs, I'm like, okay, fine, like you can see me in like my clothes that I wear every single day, but I am kind of mindful of wearing like the same jumpers and whatnot. So I want to buy some slightly nicer tops, but I want to be more mindful, and I'm not just going to pick out any like top or like crop top or like nice top just for the sake of it. I want to make sure it's something that I'm actually going to wear like in an everyday basis, or not necessarily every day, but kind of on a frequent basis. Because like my jeans, I'm like fine, and I did kind of donate a lot recently, like within like the past week or two, because and because like I've gone through my clothes and I'm like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't wear this. And there's definitely some stuff where I've kind of put as like a maybe and I've left it in the drawer, but actually will probably just end up being donated anyway because I don't wear it. Some of it was I didn't remember that I had it, like I'd forget I had it in that drawer. Some of it is because I've kind of been living in 2 different locations, so some of it which is why there's the odd extra maybe. I did even get rid of some of my like summer dresses where I'm like, I didn't wear this last year, I had no interest in wearing it. Obviously some of it was due to like the weather, and there was warmer weather, but it wasn't summer. It was like you still wanted to be cozy during the summer type summer, where it was like rainy and like drizzly and like cloudy, and it was like that weather, but it was like warm. So it wasn't great for like summer weather wearing clothes. I think my clothes overall I'm quite good with. Like I didn't buy stuff, clothes for the sake of it. Like I don't go out buying clothes, bags, shoes, whatnot, just on like a regular basis. My thing is books. Like I have sort of made the odd, so like when I said I've technically bought more than what other people would buy in like a month, I have replaced 2 bras because I realised that actually they weren't, like they were frayed a little bit. Like I'd noticed it and it was like actually like it was the first time I noticed it, and there was another one where I was like actually this isn't feeling as comfortable for me anymore. So I have just chucked them and replaced them. So that feels like an okay purchase. And those kind of purchases from the videos that I've seen of like lower spend and like lower buying is like they're okay purchases, because there are going to be times where you do need to replace stuff if it doesn't no longer work for you, and like it no longer works as effectively, or it just isn't as good a quality anymore. I did make purchases that I didn't need, so I have actually got spot patches on. You can't tell, but do I have the packaging near me? I don't think I do. So I bought these Zap patch, you know, like the spot patches. I wanted to try some out. I've never done them before. It'll be worth seeing what I think. I did also buy a new hand cream. Did I need it? Technically not, because I do have one, but I left it at home. My hands are quite dry because I'm having to wash my hands a lot at work, and there is hand cream there, but and like I will occasionally use it, but you know how sometimes you just like after work, like you could have put moisturizer on just before leaving work, but even as you're like if you have to stop off on like your journey home or whatnot, it's like, oh actually my hands are quite dry, and so you put like a little bit on, and so I just needed some for that. So I did pop into Boots. Did also buy some more underwear because my mum accidentally, like she washed a pair of mine, like a new pair, and it just got shredded somehow in the wash. So I bought a whole 5-pack, which technically it wasn't necessary because I do have underwear, but it's like I'm slowly converting to a different shape, so I wanted more. So I am kind of happier with that purchase. But you know, I did end up spending about £20 in Boots with the like these patches, which were only like £6, or might have been 5. There were some that were more expensive, like the ones that are like Star. I looked at those, but they're like £12, and I'm like, no. What else did I buy from Boots? I bought some flossing picks. Did I spend £20 in Boots? I feel like I bought something else, but I did also then like buy food as well, because going into food, I know this is quite over the place, but going into food, I typically end up buying food at work. I try to go to the canteen, but over this Christmas period it's quite hard, and also because I'm doing a lot of night shifts, there's nothing open, and Costa at work is like closed for like the next 4 weeks for renovations. Because of that, I don't even have a food option, and like for the past couple of night shifts I bought like some crisps and like then ate something, just like had like a McMuffin and drink for on my way home, which that bit in itself I'm like, okay, fine, I might continue on with, because although I do spend £3.09, I think it is, I will always be buying a drink to go home anyway, which is going to cost me, in terms of buying a can, going to cost me probably at least like £1.30 with like how it is. Occasionally if I go to like Asda, I can get it for like 91p. If I'm to like buy it from work before heading straight off, I'm spending a good like £1.30. So for me, paying another £1.80 and being able to get something to eat before I head home works out quite nice, because typically I take my lunch break about 3, which is then when I'm eating. And so because of that, by the time that I get home, I'm obviously hungry, but I need to then sleep, and it doesn't work out great. So that I think I'm going to keep for after my night shifts. Like when I'm on day shifts, I'll eat something, then go. Like I won't, no, like I'll just make sure I grab a drink, then come home and then eat here. I do have some travel lodge days, which technically I include in my transport, just because it allows me to group my days that I work together, so that then I've technically got more days off in the week. So like instead of doing like shift on, shift off, that type of thing, it allows me to group it so that then I've got like 3 days off that week, like in a row, rather than having to split it so much. So I'm kind of making sure to utilize that as well, because it doesn't actually cost me too much more. Like it maybe only cost me like a couple quid more. Now as a result of that, it does mean that in terms of food, I do kind of have to go to like McDonald's and spend like £8. And on those situations I'm like, okay, like it's inevitable, because I'm not a sandwich person, and otherwise I'm spending like a good like £5 at M&S just for like, or like £4.50 for like a salad or like a wrap or something. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of all those like flavour combinations. So and obviously then you've got to add on the drink and crisps, and it just ends up costing the same. So I grab my McDonald's on my way to my travel lodge. So again, that does cost me like £8. I make sure to have something to snack on in the morning so that I don't go to work on nothing. And then I do end up having to utilize like the canteen there, like during a day shift. So going on to food in general, when I do a shift, I allot like £10 to food, which actually, so I'm doing like 15 shifts in like January. Not all of them are full shifts, but there's only 2 that aren't like a full shift. So that's like £150 that technically I've mentally allotted to food, but that's on like my days that I'm at work. Whereas typically when I was like renting as a student, yes, I would spend about £200 a month on food, but I was arranging all of my meals. Whereas now I've got like, I'm eating like some of my nana's food as well, and she pays, and like my mum's food, and like I'm having that, and so I'm not paying for food every single meal, and so therefore that £150 is a lot. Now I often wouldn't spend that amount. I don't know how much I was spending, but I was always kind of keeping to like £10 or under. Sometimes I was only spending like a £5 maximum on food that day, or sometimes I was spending the like £10. So I, as of like this like night, I have cooked myself some food because I needed to eat something tonight anyway. But then I've got like 3 different meals like in Tupperware made up, and that's my next 3 shifts, sort of. Well, it might not be my next 3, just because I've got one where I have to stay in a travel lodge. So I might end up actually having to eat that second portion this morning, like just before I go to bed, which not great, but I need something to eat on my night shift, and it'll be healthier for me than a tube of Pringles, because that is literally what I ate on my last night shift, and those cost me £3 because I bought them from a service station. yes, I know I could have got them for like £2, but it's still a lot of money when, and okay, yes, I did have to buy the like seasonings all over again, so it did cost more this time, but actually my main thing that I kind of need is chicken and a pepper and peas. I do need to buy some chicken stock though, but basically that per meal works out less. And so then when I take a packet of crisps that my nana has bought, it saves me a lot of money. Now there will be times where I do have to utilize like food from work, but I kind of think if I can reduce my food consumption, not my actual food consumption, but like my food cost consumption, then it would be better. So like if I could reduce it to like 75 instead of like 150, or even to like 100 to account for like the times that I'm in a travel lodge, it would just work out a little bit better. And again, just mean that I'm saving myself money overall that I can then put into my savings, or for the times that I do need it, or so that I can like buy my sister some stuff, or like not buy her stuff, but like if she wants to go to this like jump place, like buy her like experiences as well. Like even if it's only when it comes to like the school holidays, it would just be that little bit nicer to do so. I know this has been quite rambly, but I kind of just wanted to highlight like the ways in which going forward I'm going to be more mindful. I did it in terms of books. I did start to become a little bit more mindful in like the last, I think it was like the last 2 months of the year, where I'd allow myself like one book each week, but that I could buy it from Waterstones. But then I did also mentally allow myself to buy like a £20 hardback, which isn't great. And then, but then like at the end of the year, I think it was literally on the 27th, I did then buy 6 books in a day, because there were weeks where I didn't, like there was probably like 2 weeks where I didn't buy a single book, which is why I think only allowing myself to buy the anticipated releases, and obviously like technically my purchase of Powerless next week won't count in terms of my TBR, but obviously it does count for purchases, and it's going to cost me estimated £5 to £6, probably can be £6. That'll just kind of go on my shelf. I won't even have it like stenciled edge outwards, but it would be nice mentally to know that they match, and then I could then just donate my original copy of Powerless, so at least then that way technically I'm not taking up as much space. I think I did actually watch like no buy, low buy videos last year, but didn't do anything. I've certainly watched them this one year, or it could have been that I watched minimalism or like videos, and I'm not necessarily minimalist, but I definitely do kind of stick to, I do use fewer stuff, and especially I wear fewer clothes. Like I don't need a vast wardrobe, so I am trying to condense some of my stuff. I did go through stuff from when I was not younger, but from like my late teenage years, and I have gotten rid of stuff where it's like paper work from like college, like notebooks, where I'd held on to it but I didn't actually need it. So I have been quite good in that. There is still the odd thing that I want to look at, and like probably end up condensing. So I am trying to reduce kind of my stuff, especially because the thing that I do buy is books, so it kind of makes sense for me to reduce my stuff in my other areas, so that it does kind of allow me to have that other stuff like the books. I know this has been quite rambly. If you're doing this sort of thing, let me know. I don't think I'll do like updates. I might do like one at like the 6-month mark. I don't know. If you're thinking about doing something like this, let me know. If you've tried to do something like this before, also let me know. Or just let me know any of your New Year's resolutions that you have made this year, whether it be financial, personal, professional, all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.